Okay. Call the meeting to order today. Did everyone have a chance to read the notes from the minutes from last week's meeting?
Yes.
Yes,
Is there any changes?
I saw none.
No?
I have a question, Abby. I wasn't here. Am I allowed to comment on something that was discussed in the meeting?
I would assume so.
Is this
No.
the appropriate time?
Under old business.
Oh.
I'm sorry?
Can it wait until the miscellaneous topics?
Of course.
She's a board member.
Oh, okay. What is the question, Diane?
Well, I just read in here that one of the topics you discussed was the possibility of turning into a 501c3 in the future. I was here at my library when we did that, and I would caution against taking on such an enterprise. It's time consuming, it's expensive, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what benefit we would get that would outweigh, what would go into doing that. And I also don't know what that would mean to our relationship with the town of McCandless.
Yeah. We discussed it briefly in the last meeting and maybe even the meeting before that, but I mean, at this point, we're just exploring any and all options that would allow us to fundraise a little bit more.
I understand, but as somebody who has done it, I'm giving you my measured opinion.
Yes, and your opinion mirrored the one of Amy as well.
Okay.
And many others involved in this group, but
Those of
Yeah.
us who've actually done it, yes.
Well, you know what,
We're taking our time.
Diane, I've done it too.
Mhm,
Moose Heart Charities in Pittsburgh.
mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I understand, and I think we're gonna look at all the options. At least I'd
Mhm.
like to, and
Mhm.
see where we are.
Agreed.
Any other comments about the minutes from last meeting? No? Okay. Vote to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so mission statement and vision statement revision. Did everyone get the copy of our current statement and our proposed new versions that I'd like everyone to vote on today? And have a chance to read them.
Mhm.
John has it up on the screen. So basically,
Can't read the screen. Did
yeah,
you?
go ahead.
Okay.
It's a good idea to re-examine our core documents probably every 3 to 5 years, as recommended by Carolyn. And this year seems to be a good year to do that with our 5-year anniversary. We're hoping to, take the Heritage Center to the next level. So this seems like a natural thing to revisit. Because this statement was created whenever the center was created, and a lot has changed in the past 5 years, not only with the Heritage Center, but just with the world in general. So our current statement was a bit narrow and maybe even a bit unrelated to what the direction that we're going. So the mission statement reads, the proposed mission statement reads, the mission of the McCandless Northern Allegheny Heritage Center is to engage the public as a vibrant community resource that promotes stewardship of history, education, and research relating to the everyday lives of the citizens of the Northern Allegheny region. So we definitely wanted to touch on some core missions as we engage the public. We want to become a relevant resource and promote history, education, and then also use our resource library as another community resource. So that would be our mission vision of what we're doing every day. And then the vision statement is where we see ourselves going. So we see ourselves to be stewards of our region's heritage, generating educational and research opportunities for individuals of all ages while maintaining a dynamic collection that reflects historical events as they occurred and demonstrates that our past is relevant, enjoyable, and meaningful. So. Comments, questions, concerns?
I make a motion that we accept the new versions of the mission and the vision statements.
I like them. I think they're much more approachable. and
Yeah, I like it because the mission statement is much shorter, more succinct. And the vision statement is great, so I'm in favor of it.
John?
Yeah. One.
We have a motion on the table.
All right, second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Number 4, updates on subcommittees. In our last meeting, I proposed some subcommittees for each of us to sort of assign a project for this coming year. And with Kevin and Diane being absent from our last meeting, I kind of made each subcommittee with, each person's strengths in mind. So I hope you don't mind that I assigned these to you, but if I know both of you responded via email, but if you're both willing to take up the marketing subcommittee and then Diane, the library subcommittee. And if you have any questions about what my vision of these things are. Do you have any questions?
No.
No, I liked what you sent me, especially with doing like the sort of backpacks for students to be able to come in, because it's like a smaller version of the hidden heritage that I did, where they could just send them out and discover things on their own. And that's just going to be lots of fun.
Oh, yeah, I was curious, filling these subcommittees. What's the expectation of who would sit on these committees? And, so, I mean, the folks here, I would imagine, or
We
Yeah,
have a lot of volunteers, not only the ones that come in for shifts, but the other ones on the email list that are always asking for certain projects or things to do.
Okay.
So I do have a couple volunteers for each one in mind. So if you need additional manpower to accomplish any of these tasks, I'm glad to point you in the direction of a volunteer.
okay,
Speaking of, I did reach out, Joe and Trish, to your contacts at NA to see if any high school students would volunteer. I never heard anything back from either of those teachers. So I don't know.
I will call Nate Tengalski today.
Okay. I mean, I don't. If they have people, that's wonderful, but I would like to start building relationships with them regardless,
the boy who wrote that article,
Yeah,
I'd like to get him into the center.
that's a
and,
great idea.
Maybe do a full article on the center, or just it was a wonderful little article.
Yeah, thanks for
And-
sending that,
Yeah.
Diane.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'd
You're
like to
welcome.
actually put it
Well,
up.
Amy, you were in on that. He acknowledged you. Yeah. And a friend of mine is a teacher at NA, and she sent that to me because
It was really well written, and
it was.
and I'd like to actually maybe put it up in the center somewhere, because it's a wonderful little concise history of the area. Maybe I was thinking contact him. Maybe he can feature us in the Nash, and then or the what's it called, the uproar, and
The uproar.
maybe that could be a conduit to students coming in.
Yeah,
Well, you have his contact information, don't you, Amy? Yeah. I also know that he is on Facebook because he has responded when I've tagged him. So he is paying attention. He's like, wow, I can't believe you found my article. So,
Well, the teacher involved in that is David Morris.
okay.
I've been I've been corresponding with David on some of the factual information that was in a couple of the articles. So, yeah, if you need the address, the email address, I feel we should probably go through the teacher rather than go directly to the student.
Were there issues with facts?
Not with the Heritage Center one. They did one on North Allegheny Schools
Oh, okay.
that pointed out that the school district separated 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th grade in 1974 when they built the new high school, and that's not factual. It happened in 1968 when they built Carson Intermediate School.
Anything else on the subcommittees from anyone?
I did get the database and I don't know if it's going to be useful or not, just on this committee. People who've been, I know in mechanics for 40 to 50 years, including myself, the Schnupps and the Cordis aren't on the list. So how many other people aren't on the list, and how would the committee, the problem is, how do you find who else is out there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some kind of a reference, maybe. John, what do you use to mail, send out McMail?
It's called eye contact.
Is that in any form that we could use as a database, or?
I mean, I could definitely export the email addresses. We have like a little over 4,000 on there.
Is it an opt-in thing? Or?
Yes,
Is-
people up.
Is the database you're working with the one I put together several years ago?
Maybe, I'm not sure who actually
Because
put it.
when we did it for our first mailing, I didn't include the addresses of people like Toby or myself or the Schnupps because we were doing a mailing to people, and I didn't think that we needed to mail to people who were already on the committee. So
Well,
that's why those addresses were not included.
I also found several other names of people in our neighborhood, and
Well, I
Right.
got those addresses from people who had visited the Heritage Center. That's-
that explains it. Okay,
I actually went through all those sign-ins and
okay,
compiled a database, but as I said, I left off the people in this committee and people like Toby because I didn't think we needed to spend money to let them know that we were fundraising for the Heritage Center, because it seems defeating the purpose.
all right. That explains it then, why, why, I'm just, if it was a mailing list that of people who are registered to vote or something like that,
No,
it
I
would be more comprehensive.
put it together from our visitor sheets.
Okay. We'll take a look and see what we can do with it then.
Operations update. We had the Boy Scouts tour in at the beginning of this month. There were 17 Boy Scouts and their families in attendance. So it was very well received. Jack and Cheryl were there and helped me do the tour. And the three of us kind of developed a rough first crack at a kids tour, but it turned out really well. The kids all really enjoyed it, and none of them had ever been inside the Heritage Center before. So they all said that they would definitely come back, bring, mom or dad or whoever wasn't there, siblings, grandparents, things like that. So I think they definitely want to come back again next year too. So it was good. We plan on changing the exhibition from our hat show to sewing machines and vintage clothing in June. No firm information on that at this point, but I'm just throwing it out there for the date. And then I've asked Public Works to bring over the second Judge McCandless portrait. There's one of Judge McCandless as an adult in storage. I think they said it's here in the basement, but I'm hoping to have it brought over to the Heritage Center and have an appraisal of it at some point. So it's going to be considerably more expensive than what was initially quoted to me. So I'm weighing the option of doing something like that. Yeah, that's the only other operations update I have at this point. Upcoming events. Our immediate upcoming events for May would be our golf outing and anniversary party. So I'll turn it over to Joe.
Okay. As I gave to the board, I have two forms that need to be approved. One for the golf outing registration and one for the sponsorship for the tees and for the holes. We ran into a problem with the par 3. We can no longer have the golf outing at night because during the micro burst last year, the golf course lost 7 or 8 lights. And having this event this early, there's 2 problems. Number one, the course is still soft. And number 2, they're having a hard time getting somebody to come in and replace the lights in a timely fashion. So we will be able to use that at night in the fall. The alternate plan, which will need to be approved by this body today, will be Friday, May 19th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The cost will be $75 per golfer. That will include the continental breakfast. That will include lunch at the turn, and it will include a reception at the end. This is all being coordinated with Chubb's Place and Dick's Sporting Goods, and the Pittsburgh Pirates have graciously given us gifts, or will be giving us gifts that we can give out to each one of the golfers. On May 20th, I've had discussions with both basketball coaches at North Allegheny to have 3-on-3 tournaments in Devlin Park. The boys starting from 9 to 12, the girls going from 1 to 4. I've spoken with McCandless Athletic Association to have Devlin Field being utilized for 3 different games during the day. I've spoken with the VFW. I'm still waiting to hear back from the Boy Scouts for all these things that we have planned for the day. And I'm planning on having the Heritage Center open from 1 to 4. But I need volunteers because the opportunity to raise funds through a 50-50 raffle at each one of these events is very high. I wanted to get input from this body if we want to have food trucks. If we want to have tents, we have the ability to sell booths like you would with Community Day or First Night. And I don't know how everybody feels about this, but there is an opportunity to have a lot of booths because we are in the midst of an election season. I figured that we would do the 50-50 raffles, 1 an hour. That would encompass the entire facility over here. And we've done the budgeting. What we're anticipating is we are anticipating a projected revenue on signage of $3,600. Signage is going to cost us $1,000, which we will see a profit of $2,600. Our projected profit from the golfing itself would be $43 per golfer at 72 golfers. Our projected profit would be $3,096. So we have a projected profit of $56.96 before we get into Saturday. And Saturday, with 50-50s, They're very popular, especially with the kind of people that are going to be there with athletic events. And they know it's the 50th anniversary of the Heritage Center, and all these things are going towards the Heritage Center. I'm still working on trying to get a band to play at some point in time. What we do need is we need tickets. We need a sound system that we can rely on to be able to announce different things that are going on and to announce the 50/50 raffles. A lot of work's gone into this so far, and it has the opportunity to bring us a great deal of notoriety to the center, as well as some much needed revenue for operations.
Are all the sporting events starting? 'Cause we can be open starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday.
I almost recommend it, but if you look at where the Heritage Center is versus everything else, I know there's a path that leads between the two, but I almost think that we shouldn't change our operational times. The boys basketball is going to start at 9 a.m. Girls basketball starts at 1 p.m. With McCandless and Ingomar and Bradmar Pine and North Hills, we're talking about, and North Hills could be Hampton. I don't know yet, but you're talking about 12, 2, and 4 for their games. So, I need some input from you folks as to whether you want to do food trucks to make additional money or to try and get other people involved. I think we're really, if what the weather cooperates, and that's my biggest worry, you're going to have literally hundreds of people in Devlin Park.
Do you have the food trucks up at the center or down in Devil?
I'd probably put them in the parking lot of the center.
Yeah, it seems we're trying to draw some traffic up. At the center.
Well, the reason being is because there's going to be, you're going to have a lot of traffic that's down on the basketball courts. Okay, you're going to have traffic that has to do with the softball field. I want to make sure that people can see the food truck, certainly, but that room is down there is going to be at a premium.
How do you think, I know whenever you started talking about the golf event, you were hoping that it could be in the evening under the lights there. How do you think having it during the day on a working day is going to affect attendance, if at all?
I think we'll get 72 golfers.
Okay.
I don't think that'll be an issue.
Do we have any pre-sale? I mean, or do you have people in
Well,
mind?
I
who've
mean,
already buy
I have
tickets?
businesses in mind. I
I
have
know you-
people in mind,
I-
but I need you to approve the registration forms as
Sure,
quickly
just
as
asking a question.
possible.
I guess,
Um,
Joe, my biggest concern is that we're 1 month out from that date already. And that's a lot to pull together in 1 month. And so that's just my concern. Like, as soon as we can have information, I'll start publicizing it on Facebook and stuff. But I'm just wondering how much we can add in a month, how we would get food trucks, and what's $1,000 for signs?
You have to have signs on the holes and on the teams that have to be printed.
Okay.
And I mean, we can't get, I wish I could get them donated. I just can't.
No, I didn't know what the signs were. That's all. I just wanted to know what that was about.
And as far as the month is concerned, I'm more concerned, Diane, with the things that are going on the 20th than I am with the golf outing. The golf outing, I mean, the minute that we put that out on Facebook, we'll be full in a couple days. The golf outing on the par 3, it encompasses everybody. Anybody can do it. Okay. We have a corporate community here that sponsors a lot of different golf outings during the weeks. So I don't see it being a big issue of
Okay,
us having.
that's good to know. So,
And Jen Williams agreed with me because we were talking about trying to do this on Saturday morning. And, the Williamses are like, well, you're going to disrupt our normal business, and once the lights are up, this won't be an issue.
I think with the short period of time, going with the food trucks would be more practical than having people set up tents and, and have you go around. That would also detract, I think it would detract from what the kids would want.
Yeah, I understand, but on the other hand, I'm looking at different things as far as like some of the local restaurants, they don't have food trucks. So if they did set up a tent and put their warmers out here, I wouldn't have an issue with that. Pizza Roma wanted to do something, or Monticello's, or, even the Chinese food, whatever.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood then. You're saying the tent would only be for people providing food.
No, I'm saying that the tents, if somebody wanted to set up a tent and run food out of that tent, that's fine. I wouldn't have a problem with that. We charge them a nominal fee. We have the ability to do other tents and charge a premium, whether that be Representative McCurry, whether that means Lindsey Williams, whatever it means. I didn't think that we'd want to get political here.
What's the way that happens? I mean, do they bring their own tents? Do you rent tents?
We can rent tents. If we're going to charge that premium, we'll be able to go out and rent tents.
I'd be booking them now,
Yeah, I mean, with a month
middle
out.
of seasons.
you'd
Well,
have
you're
to
running
know-
up a lot of cost here in advance, and it's speculative. Where are these tents going to be?
I don't know. I'm just finding different ways to generate revenue here. And that's one of them. That's why I brought it back to the group, so we can have a discussion and go
Okay.
through.
When you invite,
The contour of the ground around the Heritage Center isn't, there's some slopes and there's not a whole lot of room.
Well,
for
what
tents.
happens during first night, Toby, is that the tents are usually put out in the parking lot by the pavilion. There are a lot of tents that are put out there, as well as the food trucks.
You mean around the tents are posted around the picnic pavilion?
Yes,
In Devlin.
yes.
Oh,
Has this happened in the past, Joe? Do you know?
Well, we've never done a 5th-year anniversary. Have food trucks been here and have?
No. Have people, other than Community Day, have people posted, put up tents around the pavilion?
You know what? I don't know that to be true.
Yeah, I don't know either. Just trying to think, you're just, as you're saying, whether that still is a floodplain. It just happens to be used before it got used. It started being used before it was declared a floodplain, but the earth remembers that it's still kind of damp there. So
Well, again,
and you're right, in May, you're talking May. That's why, usually summer months and part of the reason why Community Day in September works pretty well, because the ground is pretty much at its driest and hardest. But
right.
just a caution, and just a thought, like as you said, this is a planning and it's a planning time. And so I think you have to have an idea of how many tents you think there would be, and then get a price on tents and also availability. As Trish knows the business at this point. Probably it's going to be, the pickings could be getting pretty slim.
Well, since we're talking about it right now and going through it, I've been a one-man show on this. So, I understand if we don't do it now, it's something that we can look at down the road. I don't want to lose the opportunity, with the golfing and the stuff that we have planned on the 19th. We still stand to raise a good chunk of money.
The 19th is the Thursday?
It's a Friday.
Friday, May
Yeah.
19th?
No, it's
May
a
19th.
Thursday.
it's a Thursday.
The
Well,
Thursday.
then I'm talking about, I'm mistaken then. I thought it was a Friday. We're talking the 20th Friday.
And then what's on the 21st?
There's a treasure in the trunk sale sponsored by the AAC. It's like a boot sale kind of thing. This is the second time they're hosting it. It was successful the first time. I know the ladies there coordinated with a coffee truck in the morning. And this is just, the treasure of the trunk is just the morning, but if you were doing this 3-on-3, there would definitely be overlap and could be possible conflict with parking because we tried to keep several spots open. Because when someone would sign up to be a seller at Treasure in the Trunk, they would have their parking space for their vehicle and a spot next to it to set things out for display.
When's the anniversary, 5th anniversary event for the Heritage Center? I forget the
21st.
date.
The 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's starts at 9 o'clock in one area of Devlin Park. And then it goes, you have the 3-on-3 basketball that starts at 9. Then you have the softball that starts at noon. And then you have the girls 3-on-3 that would start at 1 o'clock.
And you were thinking keep the Heritage Center at the usual 1 to 4 hours and
Yes. Yes. Because you know what, Toby, we're going to need the volunteers out and about, whether it be handing out information about the Heritage Center or running the 50-50 raffles.
have you, as a board, have you talked to or communicated with the volunteers? I didn't notice anything. I'm just asking about their usual mission is to volunteer inside the building. So are we drawing upon our volunteers to do this kind of more field-like work and outside work?
No. Yeah, yes. I mean, there are a number of volunteers that would be willing to be outside the Heritage Center. But I do think it might be valuable to at least have someone with the doors unlocked to, show people around if they wander over there.
So
It doesn't.
you just need one person.
Yeah.
I agree. If nothing else, everyone's going to come in to use the bathroom. But but they came in and that's a chance to hook them. And I think that if we're doing an event in the parking lot, that we should have our facility open.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just add the 10 to 1 shift on Saturday.
What time does the other event, the trunk sale start?
Treasure in the Trunk, it is from 9 to 11. And we have to remember too, that being a Saturday morning in May, that parking lot is going to be absolutely filled with little families of little soccer players.
Yeah.
When is the mulch? When do we think the mulch is gone?
Well,
I would expect that in the next 2 weeks. Toby, do you think?
yeah, it's usually, in the past, we scheduled it to be like the, last call for mulch would be like around May 1st. And usually it's within a few days from even right now, it's going to be down to scrapings anyway. But yeah, if Public Works follows that, that plan, that shouldn't be a problem. That could be swift up there. But in the soccer, it would be a good idea for somebody to contact the soccer association and see what all they have going. If it's just regular games, then they'll have parents and some grandparents and friends and all that. But so I would suggest on a typical Saturday morning, they fill up maybe a third of the parking lot.
Okay, I'll get in touch with them
I would
myself.
just find out to be sure.
Is there any value in having the center open whenever the event is happening in the parking lot, the trunk?
If we can get a volunteer there, sure, or two, sure. I think so.
Where in the parking lot is Treasure in the Trunk happening? In the back parking lot?
It's in the parking lot, the lower parking lot of Town Hall.
By the pavilion, right?
Yeah, between like the police headquarters and where the pavilion is. So
Okay.
the way it was set up before, they took up the bulk of the middle with some attendees parking on the outside or in the upper lot. I think they're expecting to have a greater participation. Now, this is the second time they're doing it. So I don't know the numbers at this point, how many people have signed up yet. But they're expecting, it would probably consume a good bit of that parking lot.
And Trish, what do those initials stand for again? The activities and,
The Activities Advisory Committee.
okay.
Other committees, like with all of the different things that may be going on in that space between soccer and the Turner, it doesn't seem like any of those need to be in conflict with the right type of communication. It seems like we'll be having our activities going on as well, but that might add to it as opposed to
Yeah,
competing.
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like it's a good, vibrant.
It's a large,
Community.
it turns out to be a large community event.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Sounds good.
So,
Yeah, I think we should have someone here at 9.
I'm gonna be here all day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Diane?
Yes,
You're a Saturday person. Amy is too. But it would, I would think it would behoove us to have it open at 9.
I agree.
So you think we'll be able to get a volunteer or two to do it?
Yes,
if
I would
nobody
do
else, I could do it.
Yeah.
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 There you go. Okay, that's good.
I mean, I'm willing to volunteer wherever I'm most needed. If it means opening the Heritage Center, that's fine. I can do that because
And then how many additional wandering volunteers do you think you would need?
I have some volunteers that I'm bringing myself.
Okay.
But I think I'm probably gonna need 4.
4.
Yeah.
let me see.
Food truck,
Amy, are you up for the 21st?
You know, as far as the food trucks are
Yeah,
concerned.
I'm looking and I think I can do that. Because
I
I'm
can't-
doing the 28th.
Yeah, I can't do the 28th because it's that memorial service for my uncle.
Right,
So I'll
right.
do the
No, I've got
21st
that.
instead. So
I'll
Yeah, I
keep
can
going.
probably swing
And if-
something.
you probably don't have to
You know,
be there
part
the
of
whole
the day.
time. Like I could get there at
Yeah.
9 and open it up.
It's,
Yeah, I'm an early morning person, so that works for me too, whatever's needed.
Okay.
Well, I'll send out an email after this meeting, but yeah, I don't think we'll have any issues getting coverage for in the Heritage Center and then having people wander around or some combination of both. So is there any other assistance we can?
Yeah, I need
offer?
you to approve the forms.
Okay.
And with,
With the date
with,
correction.
with the date correction, yes.
Where's the second form? You said there
Yeah,
were
where
two?
are the forms?
I have this.
This is for the whole sponsorship.
The whole.
Change the date.
Yeah, the dates have to be changed, but I just need you to approve the ability to send them out.
The other thing, you said there was reception following, because you were saying something about food afterward. You have
Yeah.
that included in the reception following.
Yeah.
Do you guys physically have those forms? Are you looking at them?
Uh,
Yeah, that doesn't help me, Kevin.
I know, I was being a little smart. I don't know, John, do you have copy of these or? I don't have copy of that. Or whatever it is, the way that we can.
yeah, I'll send this to John with the updated dates on them.
While there's a lull, it's just a thought about the 50/50, just is there, whose license would be used as the host? Diane, you have a license or what?
No, but I see Amy over there. She's like, oh, Lord. Here.
Well, we would probably use one of the volunteer fire companies.
Check to see if they have one. They may not.
Yeah, I had
We
already,
have a couple of other friends that do, but you're gonna have to I'm looking to see if Amy's volunteering her friendship or what.
Our solicitor has advised us against sharing the license if we're not profiting from said
There you go.
license. Sorry.
No, that sounds legitimate
Like
because
to, but
in the
it's a
past,
sticky wicket.
we desticketed that wicket when with Community Day because you were part of that. I mean, so this is, you may want to talk to, this is a town event. The town is one of your authority members. I don't know if your solicitor how creative your solicitor wants to get.
Yeah, and technically it's not ours because we're just like the town. The authority, the library does not have the license.
Oh, that's right. It's
our
your
foundation.
Okay. So the other, the only
That's
other
where it gets-
alternative would be the McCandless Athletic Association used to have a license if they are going to be there and if they are going to share in the proceeds, that might work.
Well, we could also use the Pittsburgh Moose. They have one as well. As a fraternal organization, they can participate and we could utilize their small games of chance license.
Just to be safe, so nobody gets concerned about that. You might want to run it by John. Might want to take it to Bob Grimm and talk to a quick email to the McCandless solicitor. It's always nice.
Does anyone see any major issues with these forms?
You might have to send them to the other members
Yeah.
of the board, but I mean, they seem to be more forms than cells. They have the information that you're talking to people and then just handing them and say, fill this out. Kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
And actually,
really
we
all
wanted to
forms.
put it on the website. And,
Download or whatever.
and I want people to call for reservations or, submit the checks to the town of McCandless.
Well, get the forms to John, so the other members of the FDPC can get an email with the forms, and if and you can always make a motion to approve, pending no questions or concerns by any of the board members that would stop the forms being posted on the website or wherever.
Is there something and John, maybe this is a question for you, whenever people are writing checks out in the town of McCandless, but we want them to specifically give the money to the center, wasn't there an extra step they had to take in terms of writing it on their checks?
Not
Or-
necessarily. I mean, just in the memo line, you can say it's for the golf outing for the Heritage Center, et cetera. Because I mean, if we get the form with it, that helps.
Okay.
And the process of the checks can have that.
Yeah, the form should instruct people to use the memo line.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And you can remind people, John, on the form, always whenever as a standard practice, that when the FDPC is sending a form out, registration form of some sort or donation form, that the donation or the cost is tax deductible, since it's a government entity you're sending the check to.
Should we approve these tentatively with Diane taking a look and the changes to the,
Well, you guys isn't there, oh geez, I muted myself. Oh no, I didn't.
You're on.
Do you guys have the quorum without my vote? I think that you do.
Yeah, but you're here.
Well, I trust them if the quorum says, if they all say it's okay. I'll just abstain because I haven't seen them.
yeah, it seems like Joe wants to get these approved and out in the.
Yeah.
Because I-
here, and
Because I think time is
We're running
of
short
the
of-
essence to get this moving.
then I motion to approve the forms
A second,
with the date being changed.
a second.
All in favor?
Hi, thank you.
Thanks, Joe, for all of your time and efforts in putting all of those things together.
So Joe, you don't need me to come and golf. That's what you're saying, right?
Oh, no, you're in the first foursome. You're in the first, in fact, you are going to tee off first.
With
In
the
front of
Hey,
every-
I'll sign off, take the day off work, get myself a golf skirt.
Other upcoming events, Scott Barrett, who is Joe Bullock's grandson, is involved with the Ross Township Historical Society, and he has done a presentation on the history of Ross Park Mall before. So I invited him to come to the Heritage Center and give his presentation. He's available in June or July or August. He's pretty flexible. So I know Carolyn had reached out to Mike Funyak, who wrote a new book about Westview Park. So if Carolyn, if you want to update us on your contact with him.
So
Excellent.
He said that he's involved in the entertainment industry at different parks. So he's out in the middle of the state, but regularly back in town for family. And he said usually weekdays are better. And once you get into the summer, it's harder to get in touch with him just because that's peak vacation season. So he's looking at a date either Tuesday, June 14th or Tuesday, June 28th. And we've gone back and forth about a couple of things, but he's given a few presentations already about his work he's done for book sales and signing. I know that we've done some of that before with the Works book, and so I thought the basic update.
All right, so he would be June, either the 14th or the 28th. So then I guess we can ask Scott, we'll look at the calendar and then get him on for a Wednesday or Thursday in July, if that's okay with everybody.
Mhm.
Can I ask a question about that program?
Yeah.
And I hate to even go here, but Westview Park has the potential. You could have 100 people want to attend that program.
Everyone loves Westview Park.
And we are so limited in space at the center. You know, it might be, that might be a better program to have at the town hall if that night. Now Tuesday nights I think are tough because of meetings, and I hate to not have it in the center, but it's got the potential to have a lot of people that want to attend.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know what the
better to
solution is.
because you don't want to turn people away.
Put an
We
RSVP
could
on it,
always,
have two
we could
shows.
always host a table at the town, the town hall of items and artifacts from the center. But I just would hate to turn away more people than are able to attend.
Yeah, that makes people so cranky.
What's the time of the presentation?
Gotta speak up, Karen.
Good, Carolyn.
Scream it.
No, Amy, on that topic, we haven't talked about location, but that's a good point. There could be a lot. And Mike's mentioned opportunities to work with Westview Historical Society. I know they have a number of artifacts, so there was even, and I haven't talked to Westview yet, but he's even thinking there might be an opportunity to have a special display of items on loan from Westview Park with the Westview Historical Society. So it's an opportunity for us to collaborate with other areas of the Northern Allegheny.
For
So-
sure.
That's perfect.
A lot,
But even that being said, that might draw a larger crowd
Oh.
as well, so space.
along those lines though, couldn't we split it into two different shows? One at 6 and one at 8, or one at 6 and one at 7:30,
Maybe.
okay? That way we RSVP and you can get, you're not gonna get 100, but you can get 80 people in there.
No, 48.
Oh, well, no, okay, 96.
Or even, that's a good idea, Joe. I like that too. Maybe even have it, instead of it being overlapping, maybe one at 4. And the folks in the parking lot can clear, and then have one at 6:37.
Right.
Soccer practice.
Definitely fills up. It's not as crazy as Saturdays on Tuesday nights, speaking from mom experience of soccer players.
And softball players too, although they generally try to park by the
The
police
town hall.
station, even though occasionally a foul ball goes through a windshield, but they take they park at your own risk.
Attendance that how many of those in attendance do we think might be interested in purchasing the book? Because I know Mike gets them in small quantities and would want to be prepared if it would sell well. What should we tell them?
Mail order.
Maybe even on the RSVP, you know, you say, I'm interested in purchasing a book
Maybe.
that evening signed by the author. So you have a,
What's his price?
yeah.
How long is the presentation? Hour?
As long or as little as it needs to be. So I told him typically our presentations run 30 minutes to an hour. And he's prepared to put something together within that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, if you max out at an hour, you could do a 6:30 to 7:30, clear things out. Maybe start the second one at 8 or start one at 6, just so there's enough time, for travel, and also make it convenient enough for people to attend. I'd be concerned about doing one in the early, like in the afternoon before dinner. I don't know how many people you're gonna get there at 4 o'clock. Just a thought. Might be better with two presentations. That's a good idea to use the center, obviously. It's split it and just split it somehow in the evening.
If he's printing on demand, which just sounds like he's, and depends on where his price point, I would go at about, because I've done these things for my wife, you can do about maybe a third of what attendance would be.
I was thinking maybe bring 20 books and
Yeah.
then they can, if there are more people that want it, then they can.
Exactly, then you take names and then
Yeah.
he could just, if he'll cover the cost of the mailing, he can get it out to everybody. Yeah, or just say, hey, give me the check now and I'll mail you the book tomorrow, and then you can just run some more books.
Okay. That sounds like a great June event.
Yeah.
Speaking of other things that people go crazy for, I was down at the Trolley Museum a couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
And spoke with Scott Becker, he's their executive director. He said they've done presentations previously, and since they have a trolley, which I think is the last existing trolley from the Harmony line, and there's a nice connection point there, so he's willing to discuss opportunities for us to collaborate. So we didn't discuss anything final, but I told him I'd bring that up tonight as well.
Yeah, that'd be
Wanted to
great.
see
Yeah.
what they could potentially offer and when that might be.
Great. Well, looking at the calendar, so you can get back to Mike, are there any other community events happening on Tuesday, June 14th or June 28th? John, do you have like a
14th is Flag Day.
14th is Flag Day? Okay.
But that's not a bad thing. That might be a good thing. I don't think there are any celebrations for Flag Day that would take the crowd away. It could bring actually a few people there.
Why don't we go for the 28th? Because that might give us some time to recover from our anniversary party
Good
hangover.
idea.
You're pretty close to, the 28th is like the week of the 4th of July holiday.
Oh, well, that could be kind of fun though, because Westwood Park.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
The 4th is on a Monday,
Yeah,
it's
that
rolling
next
right into that
Monday.
weekend, so you're.
so you may not be stealing people yet, but it's just,
Anybody have a problem with the 28th?
No.
See if he, yeah, and if he prefers the 14th for some reason, that would be fine too. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other upcoming events that need to be discussed? I don't think so.
No, you just should mention that we have the North Park presentation is coming
course.
1 week from tonight.
Yes, our
Yep.
immediate.
And we
upcoming event.
probably, we'll find out how many people we're gonna, I suspect we're gonna get more people for that than
Good.
what
Is
we
there an
normally have.
RSVP for that or is it?
No.
just-
No,
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 yeah,
so I've had several people ask that on Facebook page, so.
I'm early.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Okay, so I know Kevin and Dan have been talking about doing some cosmetic updates, so if you wanna talk about that.
You want me to take off? Or you want-
I'll start and then
Okay.
you can finish. So I had the idea of maybe taking the back corner and featuring some information about Joe, his story, and the story of the Heritage Center. And, at first I was starting just with like pictures and stuff like that. And, but then I talked with Kevin and he's got some great ideas for putting up a panel or two. And it would be featured, I'll let Kevin talk about what it looked like. But it would, we'd have a little bit of information there. And also Kevin had another great idea about, having sort of a table or some sort of exhibit in front of it. And I thought that what would be really good would be to have some local history in front of there. I know that everything we have is basically local history, but I've been over at Northland Library quite a bit and reading through the oral histories they have there of the North Hills. And I was wondering, and Amy can answer this question. I don't know if there's some way we can duplicate those materials, or if there's some way we can put those materials on loan to us, or something like that. I'd love to have feature some of those that oral history there. I also have the interview with Steve Bullock, that could run on the TV, where he talks about Joe and the Heritage Center. Yeah, so that was kind of my idea. I'm still working on, it should be Joe's Corner, Joe's Story, or Joe in the Museum. I don't know what the title is, but and Kevin, I think, has worked up some ideas.
Yeah. Do you want to bring those up here? So this is just some quick, back to the first one there. Okay, so can everybody see this? So, yeah, this is the current state of the Joe Corner. And so you can see right now, it's sort of random, doesn't really have any presence. There are some things on the pew over there to the left. And there's also a bin that has some of Joe's stuff. And then there is that sort of little bookcase as well that has some memorabilia in there. So it really isn't, what we want it to be yet, but there are a couple other areas. If you look in the corner there, there's a couple different plaques, and I know now the new one is out in the foyer there. So there's Joe's represented in a couple different places here, but there's no real place like a Joe's Corner here. So if you can hit the next one there, the space that we're talking about here is this area, and I think we have an opportunity, a twofold opportunity. We have this wall space, and then we also have the physical space of that sort of little corner, but it's almost like a little inlet there. Go to the next one here. The wall here, because of where the TV is, it's mounted behind into the wall, can't really be moved, and nor should it be moved, but it's positioned in a turn. So of the space on that wall, we've got pretty much like a nice square there. And then we have some unusable space behind it, but that doesn't mean we can't actually activate that space. So with that in mind, with those measurements, and I kind of like the idea of working up to the ceiling. There's another area, I mean, just to the left there, where there's a school district large graphic. So we've done that before, and I think something like this could work. The design that I've worked up is more of what I'm calling a wireframe, and it's based on some of the discussions that Dan and I had about what we would maybe want to include in this. And if this was some sort of, a permanent graphic, it would allow sort of the overview of Joe, while we could have memorabilia and different pieces below that maybe are oral histories or other things. So that could
we could rotate it, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a little space within a space kind of, and certainly Joe warrants that. So on the next page here, this was sort of design / wireframe. There's the idea that I was looking for some images of Joe. There may be some things available in some of the yearbooks, but the best shot that was out there was actually his own yearbook shot. It has this, and plus it has, I think, a nice historical character to it,
really
rather
does.
than, a shot
Looks
of him
good.
from 5 years ago or wherever. I think it could be interesting to come up with sort of a little logo, Joe's Corner or something like that. Give it some personality. Maybe we could get Joe's him writing his first name or something like that from a document that could be part of that. There's some great stuff on the website already that defines Joe in relationship to the connection. Dan was talking about writing something that's, sort of a tight overview. But and then also we were talking about the opportunity down below there. I have just 4 gray squares that could be, again, because those artifacts are going to be moving around and stuff like that. Maybe there's 4 points in Joe's life. There's, when he met the Pope, and we can come up with the 4 that sort of define that, have some brief copy, and that would always then be a permanent spot. On the next one, you can kind of see how this would kind of fit. It would be, I tried to design this approach in such a way that even if the TV screen is in front of there, you're not losing any of the key elements there. It can kind of fit in from the one area there to the other area. And this would just be sort of you can get this printed out, mounted on a certain type of material, 1 piece or 2 pieces right there. And we can talk about ways to mount it where it won't be destroying walls if sometime it would need to be removed in the future. On the next one, there is, again, what Dan was talking about, there's an opportunity here, I think, whether we could just add a sort of view of a shelf, maybe comes out like 8 inches, same sort of oaky kind of feel there. So we could put a lot of things on there that are around there. I don't know. I was thinking if you put like a little rug and maybe there's a chair or something like that. So it's kind of like a little space within a space. And maybe there's a Joe chair somewhere downstairs. I don't know. Maybe, there might be something that we can create a little
alcove.
Yeah, a little alcove, a little sitting area, a little space, and do justice to Joe's memory here. So I can get if you like this approach, Dan and I can talk a little bit more about filling in that wireframe a little bit more, and I can get cost on producing the graphics. Maybe we could talk about doing that obviously isn't something that shelving isn't something that I know could happen immediately, but that would be something we might do, or it could be tables in there, I don't know.
That's an outstanding
Yeah,
design. I love that.
I love this whole idea.
And you know what? You talk about a Joe's chair. He was very involved in baseball. So having like a team bench, that looks more like a church.
It is.
Yeah.
If you had like a team bench or like one of those benches you have in the gardens, or even like a chair that came out of
Stadium seat.
stadium seats.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great tribute
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, yeah, we can think about that, and that might be true with like if you had an NA rug or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You could go in there,
Good idea.
really we could brainstorm and think about putting the right elements together
Yeah.
to make it a nice little space.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think
that's outstanding.
I think we do the wall thing and then we can kind of fill in the rest of it as we.
Yeah, the hope is if we're on board with doing this, our hope was to try and do this and get it in by the 20th.
Yeah.
And so that for the 5th anniversary, have that up there. So,
That'd be fantastic. And it's actually an exhibit that we can talk about.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. It's something new, and it's
yeah.
something, that we could have a little dedication to the Joe Corner. or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that, that it just is part of the 5th anniversary.
I love that.
Joe, when he talked about the museum, the Heritage Center, he always talked about it as a place for longtime residents to come and sit and shoot the breeze. That's what he would always say, and talk about, days gone by. So I see that as a corner where it would sort of, fulfill his vision of that people could. come and
Amy, that's a
shoot the
great,
breeze, is what he
that
always
is,
said.
that is a great point.
Mhm.
And every time that I walk in there and I see Jerry Hoffman holding court in that direct area. So, yeah, I see that stuff happening, and you're absolutely right. Joe wanted people he wanted to have something to bring people together, and he certainly has achieved that.
I think we have some pictures of him in his baseball uniform too. That could be maybe one of those gray boxes.
Mhm.
Yeah, for the big one, I know the picture that's down there right as you come into the right. If I could get that pop, I think I was looking at it today. I could pop the picture out, do a good high res scan of that. Most of the other images are reprints from other half tones and stuff like that. They're not going to hold up that big, but yeah, I think there may be something else in the yearbook or there's a lot of good material right now that, again, we can put into the permanent display as well as.
There's also stuff from the website, like the day that they dedicated this. I think he has a baseball glove that's in one of those pictures. In
Yeah,
fact,
I
I
mean,
think
in
he's
terms of
got a
artifacts,
baseball
yeah.
glove in the center.
Yeah.
That was
there's
one
a
of
lot
his.
There's a lot of stuff just like in the bin has some of this stuff. So I think this will be a better presentation. And if there are artifacts in addition to some of the trophies and things like that, maybe things that we have that we don't have a place for now we may have a place for.
And eventually down the road, maybe you can even like make it an audio visual area. You know, if we could maybe upgrade some of the technology.
Well, that's what I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
about chair too, is maybe the chair's on the other side and you facing the TV. So somebody comes in and if there's a presentation, they're kind of sitting in a comfortable area watching, a 15-minute presentation or a 5-minute presentation. So that might be a nice area too for that.
That's a great idea. I would leave the pew there because it's one of the many aspects of Joe's loves and his various aspects of his life. That's also a place where people could, that's a lot of room for several people to plop, watch the TV, listen to something about Joe, and the chair on the other. I like the idea of the chair. That's great. I think the chair on the other side somehow, or make it so it's portable as well. But and then
was that his?
something about a rug?
Was that his bench? Was that I wasn't aware. You
No,
said there was
no,
a connection of the bench.
No, he was very religious, very involved in St. Alexis and St. Alphonsus.
Okay.
So having the church pew, I think that's what Toby was getting towards. It was one of Joe's great loves, and it really was.
And it's a lot of room for, like you said, it's already there. It's not it's not very deep. It kind of matches the decor and all that stuff. So I think that would be a keeper there. But everything else fitting around that sounds ducky. How about somebody said something about an area rug with a North Allegheny symbol on it or something?
Yeah, or it could just be a comfortable like $20 throw rug, that just to make it a little bit more of an inviting space.
Oh, sure, for sure. What kind of chair does a coach usually use? Does a coach have a chair these days, or the days that Joe was coaching the girls' golf team? And
you know what? I mean, when Joe coached, he was hands-on all the way.
He's running around, probably. Yes, he's running around.
You can't put a golf cart in there.
Right. But I think so. That would be something not to capture for the 20th, but some kind of chair temporarily just opposite the pew would be a good idea, or like a diagonal, so that the person, like you said, could look up at the TV that's in the chair as well. But maybe on a more permanent basis, think about what kind of chair you want to have.
There is a North Allegheny chair in the center right now that was an administrative chair, and it's got the North Allegheny logo on it.
I thought so.
Yeah, the one that's there right now is just an office chair, right?
Where is that chair? By the blackboard.
Yes, it is by the blackboard. And it's right next to one of the old student desks.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, Dan and I sort of work up this design a little bit. We can refine it, and then, but before we meet again, obviously, we want to have this pretty much down the road. Do we just want to, we can just send it to the group and everybody take a look, see if you see anything, comments that way whenever we get a little closer there.
I think you're really on the right track. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a month away. And we want this thing want this thing to be a permanent, and so we don't want it to be kind of just thrown together.
Yeah, if there's a point where it doesn't look like we're going to make it, we'll let you know, but I think we can make this work.
Well, thank you both.
Do you want to contact Steve at all before it goes up, just to make sure
We could loop him in for the review.
family is okay? I don't know.
He might be able to add something to the $4. Sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, creating.
I don't know. I'm not saying you need to, but.
No, I would just not so much an okay, Amy. I think it's a nice idea to contact them, because they could chime in and help provide,
contribute or.
Yeah.
I can talk to him, yeah.
I think Dan's in contact, or we could show him this PDF and
Yeah.
say, this is what we're thinking. You have your dad's signature, that kind of stuff. We could maybe make him part of the
Yeah.
process here if he
Yeah.
wants to be
I
involved.
mean, I haven't talked to him since I interviewed him, but yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah,
will.
but
Yeah.
you spoke to him.
Yeah,
You have a
yeah.
lead in. We'll do that. It's a great suggestion.
All right, any other?
And make it clear
Okay.
that's what you're planning to do and you're just asking for, a fact check here, there, little
Yeah,
bit of
not-
assistance.
Yeah, fact check's good.
For information, not approval.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we need it. Yeah, we need to get something up on the wall. Joe's favorite saying, 2 words. God bless.
Yeah,
It is. Wish I had $1 for every time.
We
he said
must
that.
have, would we have that? Maybe, did he sign letters or correspondence that way? You mentioned his signature, Kevin. If we had that with his signature,
You know what?
by the,
Toby, Joe always said God bless when he left you. Well-
That's his verbal autograph.
Build it into your contract.
Okay.
It's better if it's in the historical context of the copy.
Mhm.
So I think Dan can look that in that way.
Yeah, and when something's presented, and you could always end it with, and as Joe would say.
Exactly. That's the appropriate way, I think, to put it in.
Sure.
One other miscellaneous item, I did conduct another interview with Bill Amen, who is currently a member of the independent associate, what is it? The Independent Order of Odd Fellows.
Odd fellows.
Yeah. And I had a real nice interview with him, lasted about 50 minutes, and talked to him about the Odd Fellows, their history in Hampton. And then I also talked to him about his growing up in the area. He grew up on a chicken farm out by Mount Royal Road. I gave a couple interesting little, anecdotes about that. Yeah, that's just one interview of hopefully I'll do many more here in the next couple of years to put that little thing together that I'm working on. So
Are those just tape recorded or are you video?
video.
Oh.
Yeah.
So those could actually be played.
Yep. And archive played. And my idea is, for the center, but also for, so my ultimate idea is that people can use that for research to, students want to
fulfill our
research.
new mission. and
That's
vision,
correct. Yeah.
which
So
we so clearly defined.
high school students want to come in and research the area. They can have anecdotes from actual.
It's relevant and
Great.
fun
There you go.
And education.
and education.
All right, anything else?
Oh, Amy, would that be possible for us to either duplicate or have on loan those oral histories that you folks have?
They were done, they were all from Franklin Park. That was a special project that was done. Yeah, I'm not sure how you want to do that. Most of the recordings are now online on our website. So there's no reason to duplicate the actual cassette recordings.
Maybe the transcripts.
Talking the transcripts, and not all of them have transcripts, but you know what? I don't see why they couldn't be. I don't think there's any, any proprietary information there. I mean, they were done when, permission was given was to have them here at the library, but it was to share them publicly. So
yeah,
they were done before I came here, so I don't know all the details, but I think we probably could. Some of them have photographs in those binders.
We'll look into it. We'll see.
Any public comment?
I have a request. Wearing my library director hat, we are holding our one of our annual staff development days, and we are in need of a screen for our speakers. And I was wondering if we could borrow the one from the Heritage Center. And that would be for May the 13th. I don't know if that's something John can.
You know what, historically
authorize.
speaking, Amy, I don't know of any help that the Northland Library's ever given the Heritage Center or you have. I mean, I don't know. We start this favor thing, man. Boy.
Amy, do you need a projector as well?
No, that we have,
Okay,
but we need to do this because of COVID and spacing. We can't do this in our meeting rooms because our staff is too big. So that's where we have our screens that pull down from the ceiling, but we don't have a freestanding one.
I make a motion that we lend the library.
Here, here.
Yeah, so there you
That's the
go.
best way to conduct it, but I like that here thing. That's pretty cool. I have a quick comment. I didn't.
Thank you.
I didn't think it was appropriate to say before, but because the mission statement and vision statement updates, I think, are terrific.
Thank you.
You're here.
The earlier ones. So.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, you know what, Toby, you gave us some great guidance in the fact that, you know, we had to keep in mind exactly what the mission is and define where we want to go as a group. And I think we have good leadership in place. We have a good direction. And, you know, I just think things are starting to fall together.
Good energy, man.
Yeah.
And there is a good energy here. I'm looking forward to, you know, the strategic planning part of this.
Sounds good.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
I,
All right.
Aye.
Yay.
hey.
Here, here.